Into Darkness has been a long time coming. I gave it a short look ages ago, but the long-form review has been waiting and waiting and waiting because the more I saw this film, the more I disliked it. But with a commitment to clear out the backlog and the fact that I need something awful for Christmas, it's really about time this was given its due. This view I know is going to be controversial. This film had a bigger box office return than any of the films before or after it. It has a high rating at both Rotten Tomatoes and a respectable one at Metacritic, and an A from Cinema Score. For the previous film, just saying it wasn't that bad, but it wasn't that great, got me lumped in with stereotypical Trekkies for not fully getting on board the reboot train that made Star Trek more like Star Wars. Like Abrams made Star Wars films that were even more like Star Wars. But I digress. Well, you don't get a reputation listing you as, and anyone else I might have missed, among video reviewers if you're willing to pretend to go with the crowd. So, I don't care how much this puts me in the camp of rubber ear-wearing cartoonish no-life fans. This film is crap. Not because it isn't what Trek is, although it isn't, but because it's a mindless piece of spectacle, following the adventures of Captain Jock Beerpong as he boldly stumbles from one special effects sequence to the next in a way that would have made Charles Darwin tear up his notebook and start over. So, here is my patented behind-the-scenes look at the making of Into Darkness. A bunch of assholes dropped their pants and crapped all over a film reel. Now, on with the review of the film. Naturally, Star Trek Into Darkness begins with a close-up of the sun. But once we get past all of the people who put their logos on this thing, we learn that we're visiting Nibiru, where the locals are unhappy with someone, and that someone is none other than our contractually stated hero, Kirk. As he flees these beings, we come across a creature, which Kirk shoots.
Damn it, man! That was our ride! You just stunned our ride!
Yeah, if you want to stun it, have Kirk not act like a jackass. The situation is that this volcano is going to erupt, and from the sound of things, wipe out all advanced life on this planet. Assuming that all life is not located in this one village, in which case, sorry, they're already pretty much screwed. Kirk needed to lure them out, so he stole some sacred text of theirs. That way they'll all chase him, and the village will be left empty for whatever they're planning to do. And there is no flaw with that plan that every last man, woman, child, and baby will empty from the village to chase this scroll. Except for all of the obvious flaws, I mean. Meanwhile, Spock is being dropped into the volcano with his special package. And thanks to turbulence over the volcano, he truly does get dropped into it. Oops. Maybe a sacrifice is what is needed to save these villagers. Wouldn't be the goofiest idea in this movie. Take, for instance, how he is going to stop this. He has special equipment called a cold fusion device, because it creates an explosion of cold.
That's just stupid.
Cold fusion is about making something cold the way that flu shot is something you load into a shotgun to make people sick.
I hate this!
Yeah, well, I hated it first. So they jump off the cliff into the water and head to the submerged Enterprise. But Spock being stuck means the Enterprise is going to have to take the chance to go and save him, even if that means some albinos are going to spot the Enterprise.
Our shuttle was concealed by the ash cloud, but the Enterprise is too large. If utilized in a rescue effort, it would be revealed to the indigenous species.
Spock, nobody knows the rules better than you, but there has got to be an exception.
None. Such action violates the Prime Directive.
I think the genie's out of that bottle. Ship's in the ocean just on the other side of the cliff. Somebody's going to notice you rising up out of the sea. Unless your plan is to suddenly turn this into the Hunt for Red October and go scooting around underwater until the villagers with no village decide to go home. So yeah, they spot the Enterprise rising up before they even bother saving Spock, but everyone treats it as if Kirk saving Spock was some horrible violation of the Prime Directive. And I see no need to blame Kirk for this, especially not when there's so much other stupid shit that he can be blamed for. But before we get into that, we begin with Mickey from Doctor Who. And so naturally, he's in London. He and his wife go to the incredibly British-looking hospital to find out how their daughter is doing, but the prognosis is grim given the piano music. But there is hope.
I can save her. Who are you?
I'm the reason this film is going to gross nearly $500 million. Meanwhile, Kirk is getting some tail.
Jim! Come on, let it go. Jim!
I submit my joke is no worse than theirs, that Kirk wants to bone anything with a vagina.
Hey, ladies. Jim Kirk.
That's less than 30 seconds later. I know Kirk's a ladies' man, but I was kind of hoping he wouldn't seem like he's about to shout, "Vegas, baby, Vegas!" Anyway, they're called in to see Pike, which Kirk presumes is to give them a 5-year mission, which he figures he deserves because he deserves everything else that he wants, just for being him. Instead, Pike gives him a dressing down for the natives on that planet seeing the Enterprise, and Kirk covering it up.
So tell me what you did wrong. What's the lesson to be learned here?
Never trust a Vulcan.
Oh, so you can't even answer the question. You lied. On an official report, you lied. You think the rules don't apply to you because you disagree with them.
A big part of the reason I don't like this film is that the hero is such a complete tool. I can take a lot of the changes on board. I think they're stupid, but I can roll with the punches. Kirk, though, is just a bridge too far. Yes, a young Kirk may have been this way. We were all dipshits when we were young, but nobody puts a dipshit in charge of a spaceship and expects him suddenly to learn how to act like a grown-up. This guy is a first-class boob, and what's worse, it's not even a case of him having to learn over the course of the film to stop acting like a first-class boob. Kirk's character arc seems to be that the rest of the universe just can't handle this much greatness in one place. Even leaving aside what they have done to an icon. I mean, I think I've made fun of Kirk often enough over the past decade to make it clear I don't worship at the altar of James T. Kirk or anything. This isn't some "you murdered my childhood" thing. It's, what the hell is wrong with you people? Because I thought Stifler was great in the American Pie movies, but it would never occur to me to put him in charge of a fucking spaceship. And if anything, comparing Kirk to him is a disservice to Stifler, because at least the cartoonish jock prick had a character arc. The only way that Kirk grows is more insufferable. Well, Kirk's shocking arrogance, which he justifies to himself because up until now he's somehow not screwed up and killed somebody, has convinced the admirals that they made a mistake and are stripping him of command and sending him back to the Academy. Good and good. Slap the jackhole out of him while you're at it. You might think the purpose of this is to fix the stupid ending of the last film, to make Kirk then have to gain the qualities needed in order to be a captain. But no, of course not. It's for everyone else to realize how wrong they were about Captain Fratboy McGropey. Anyway, back in London, the mysterious man takes a sample of his own blood and gives that and a ring to Mickey. Sure enough, his little girl is starting to do better, so congratulations, sweetie. See you later. Only I won't. Daddy's going to be a suicide bomber. Yes, he is. Oh, yes, he is. Can't believe the lengths I have to go to smuggle in Alka-Seltzer. My heartburn is out of control. See? Well, Kirk has no time for that. He's wallowing in a bar where Pike shows up.
And the first time I found he was in a dive like this.
Hey, this ain't no dive. I hardly ever spit in the drinks. Anyway, Pike's here to say that the Enterprise is his again, with Kirk as his number one.
Captain. Not anymore, Spock. First officer. I was demoted, and you were reassigned.
It is fortunate that the consequences were not more severe.
Well, thanks, Mr. Glasses Half Full.
I saved your life, Spock. You wrote a report, I lost my ship.
You left out the "I falsified official records" in there. That's kind of important. An officer who breaks the rules and is willing to then own up to the decision and accept the consequences, that's at least something you can respect. But an officer who breaks the rules and covers it up, it's not like Starfleet is some sinister organization and Kirk is covering up ethnic cleansings that he refused to commit or something. He just decided to do what he felt like and tried to get around the consequences. That's all. There's nobility in risking his career to save the lives of those people. I'm hardly a Prime Directive cheerleader. But own up to it. And certainly don't go blaming other people for giving away your deception. You're not a victim of anything but your own ego. Anyway, RoboCop here has called this meeting because of that explosion. Seems our mystery man behind it is John Harrison. And Admiral Marcus has called them here to hunt this guy down to answer for blowing up that archive. But Kirk thinks this doesn't add up, and says so. The attack achieved nothing other than gathering them all in this room, and what good would that do? Wait, maybe this is a trap. Kirk tries in vain to shoot down the craft, so eventually he tosses stuff into the engine to bring it down. Only, right before his eyes, Harrison vanishes. He's nowhere on Earth. Oh, like anyone's going to believe that. What does he look like, a magician? During the fun, Spock witnesses Pike get shot, and as Pike lays dying, decides to mind meld with him. Why not? It's not like Pike has anything else going on right now to stop you from poking around his brain. I mean, this isn't Kanazuki no Miko groping the dead person creepy, but it's still pretty creepy. It's a special movie that is willing to be shot in such a way that the Blu-ray looks like you're watching the Chinese bootleg version.